Bible adventure number 9. God keeps his promise. This is based on Genesis 20 and 21. Abraham moved again, this time to a place named Gerar, in what is now the land of Israel. The king of Gerar gave Abraham a present of sheep, oxen, and slaves, and told him he could live anywhere he wanted to in his country. At this time, God gave Abraham and Sarah a little baby son, just as he had promised them. Abraham named him Isaac, for that is the name God had told him to give him. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. What a happy day that was. The baby grew and was soon old enough to play with other children. So his father gave him a nice party. But during the party, another boy, whose name was Ishmael, made fun of Isaac. Ishmael was the son of Abraham's other wife, Hagar, who was a slave girl. When Isaac's mother saw the slave girl's son mocking her son, she was very angry. Sarah told Abraham to get rid of Ishmael and his mother because she couldn't stand the sight of them. Abraham didn't want to send them away, but God told him to do as Sarah demanded. So Abraham got up early in the morning, gave some bread and a bottle of water to Ishmael and his mother, and sent them away. They walked a long way into the wild country. Soon all the water in the bottle was gone. Ishmael became so weak with thirst that his mother thought he was going to die. She laid him under a bush in the shade and went a little further on and sat down and cried, for she did not want to see him die. But God heard her, and the angel of God called to her out of heaven, "What's the trouble, Hagar? What's wrong?" The angel told her not to be afraid and showed her where there was a well. So Ishmael had a drink and felt all right again. God was kind to Ishmael and took care of him. Growing up in the country, far away from any city or town, he learned to shoot birds and animals with a bow and arrow. When he grew up, his mother brought him a wife from the land of Egypt, where she had lived when she was a girl. Meanwhile, Abraham was still living at Gerar. When the king of Gerar realized that God was Abraham's friend, he asked Abraham to be his friend too. Abraham promised to be friends, but he told the king about a problem. Abraham's servants had dug a well, but then some of the king's servants said it was theirs, and they wouldn't let Abraham use it. It was hard work to dig a well in the rocky ground of that country, so Abraham didn't want to have to dig another one. The king said he didn't know his servants had done this, and he was sorry about it. Then Abraham took 7 lambs from his flock and gave them to the king. The king asked him why he was giving these lambs to him. Abraham replied that they were a present to remind the king that Abraham had dug that well and that it belonged to Abraham. So the king and Abraham made an agreement always to be friends. Abraham called the name of the place Beersheba, which means the well of promise, because it was there that he and the king promised to be friends. Abraham planted trees beside the well and lived there a long time. Here are your thought questions. What was the promise God kept? Do you remember who Ishmael was? How did God look after him? And how did Abraham and the king show that they were friends?